Welcome back, dear listeners, to Fright or Flight, the podcast where we rank, recap, and review every horror movie in a given franchise.
I'm Jumpscare Jer, and Roger. I'm the Fright of the podcast.
And I'm Frankie. I'm the Flight of the podcast.
And today we're talking Jigsaw, where some of the pieces don't quite fit together.
Ooh.
Especially, is he alive? Oh.
Who knows? Well, Jigsaw brings the iconic horror franchise back from the dead. You think just because I'm dead, all this is over? Things are only getting started. Let's deep dive into this reboot to the franchise. Geraldine, what are your general feelings towards Jigsaw?
It's very strange because although I enjoyed bits and pieces, there's a big part of me that just doesn't feel right about it.
Really? That's interesting.
So, it's very mixed review, I would say. I'm kind of, it's just okay.
I have a lot of similar feelings. It's just, I completely agree with you on the sense that, like, there's a lot of things that don't necessarily fit in to, like, the Saw legacy, in my opinion. So I agree with you a lot of that.
I also feel like we've gotten this before. It's kind of annoying. I'm like, another redemption story. It just feels very out of character when we finally get into the nitty gritty of the story with Jigsaw. I mean, I've grown to love this character, grown to enjoy his motives, his thoughts, his feelings, everything involved. And I don't feel like this fits or aligns with him as a person.
I can kind of agree with you. I think my biggest problems with the film is kind of just like how it presents itself to fit into a certain time frame.
Yes.
But when I think a little bit more about it, it doesn't really make any sense to me.
Yeah, I like this big twist that they do at the end, but again, it was like really like, whoa, that's trippy. But then I was like, wait, how would that have worked?
Yeah, I think this is a movie of highlights more than anything. It was made 7 years after the final chapter.
Which is crazy.
So it's been quite a while since they had made a Saw movie. The producers that have been behind all these different Saw movies, they've been hearing pitches throughout all this whole time period. And like
for 7 years.
For 7 years, but nobody has presented anything that they like were like, okay, that's what we're doing. Until these two writers, Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger, pitched them a concept that they liked. Now, I actually really like the concept, because it's not what we got in the movie. They ended up changing it so much. It's nothing like there was a plan initially that the next Saw movie was going to take place at an oil rig, right?
Okay.
Like out in the ocean, basically. And then by the end of it, like they make it out of the trap, right? And then they find out they're in the middle of the freaking ocean. So they never even escaped. You know, they're still in the middle of nowhere.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that concept seems really cool. Probably a budgeting thing. I'm not quite sure why they didn't end up going with that idea.
I would imagine so, especially after you said that Saw 7 did not do well.
Yeah, well, Saw 5 is the one that did the worst. Saw 7 did okay, but I think that's mostly because it promoted itself as the final chapter. Yeah. So everybody, you know, when something's dying off, you're like...
You go see it.
You go see it or whatever. The people that got to direct this film are the Spielberg brothers, who were also the directors for the films Daybreakers, which I've never seen, and
never seen it.
Predestination, another film I've never seen, but it's a time travel movie, and which interests me a lot. The whole time travel concept thing fascinates me so much.
It is a fun concept. I've not really seen anybody do it successfully, especially, I mean, but
really?
I mean, I guess it would depend.
Like an example, I really like the time traveling done in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. It's really fun. As far as like films about time traveling, I haven't really seen any.
Yeah,
I've never seen Back to the Future.
Well, that's an old one, but it's a good one.
I've never seen it. I've never seen a lot of... There's one with like Bruce Willis now, and it's like his younger self and his older self. I forget what it's called. But
I don't think I've seen it. I mean, the ones that I have seen, I guess, were more like... I wouldn't consider them to be exclusively just time travel.
Yeah.
But I've seen like movies that were based around time. Like there was a movie called In Time with Amanda Seyfried. I don't know if I'm ever saying her name right. And Justin Timberlake, that was pretty solid.
Oh, I've never seen the trailers.
About people knowing when they're going to die, but it's
and
not
it's like
time
based
travel.
on money, right? Like if you have more money, you could pay for more time.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds super cool.
But I mean, I don't really know that I've exclusively seen something that was just time travel, unless it was like Disney Channel movies, you know?
Yeah. I would love to do a time travel movie. Have you seen what do you think about the movie poster for this film?
I haven't seen it, but let me like this. It makes me want to, it kind of reminds me of like a scratchy couch. And I saw this meme recently, and it was like, don't invite me if you have like a peeling couch, because I'll come over there and I'll just peel it some more. And I'm like, me.
Is that, because you pick at your skin.
I pick at my skin. If that makes me want to pick at Jigsaw's skin, like the flakes. I can't do flakes, especially if you've ever.
Do you like or dislike it? Like the flakes?
No.
You like picking at it?
I like picking at it, but I don't.
Does that mean you dislike it?
I want it to be smooth. That's just, I don't know.
Well, have you seen those like sequin pillows that like?
I don't like those.
You push all to one side and it's something different design.
It's satisfying when it's at one side, but if it's all like messed up,
you don't like it. Yeah. I think this poster is very visceral. I remember when this movie came out. This is the first Jigsaw. Well, this is the first Saw movie I ever saw in theaters.
Okay.
Because the other ones all came out when I was too young.
Actually, talking about this with my partner, and I was like, I don't know that he's ever seen one in theaters. I was like, other than maybe Jigsaw, that would have been the only one that he would have came out around the time.
Yeah.
Because I think Spiral was released still during COVID time, so it was, I think, released on streaming platforms when it
had a small premiere. It did have some showings, and I believe that's how I saw it, if I remember right. I did also watch Spiral in theaters, and I intend to watch any of the future ones in theaters. Like we will be watching Saw X.
I think it's already been revealed online, at least, that there's going to be a Saw 11, because so far of how the turnout has been.
Well, I'm glad that you say that, because the movie that we're covering today, Jigsaw, its success is what led to greenlighting both Spiral and Saw X.
Hey, thanks to those who watched it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I've become a fan in this short season, but also a very long season. It's not our longest, but is it our longest?
It is going to be our longest. It's going to,
Hell yeah.
It's going to put, currently it's Texas Chainsaw with 9 movies, and this one has 10. So it'll break our record.
It will break our record, which is really fun.
Yeah, so everybody knows what we're talking about. Here's our recap for Jigsaw.
Detectives Brad Halloran and Keith Hunt are in pursuit of criminal Edgar Munson, who claims that he must start a game in exchange for his own survival. He activates a remote trigger and is then shot and collapses to the ground. Finally, we meet 5 new victims: Mitch, Anna, Ryan, Carly, and an unconscious man, as they wake up inside a barn with buckets on their heads and chains around their necks. A tape recording from John Kramer explains that they must each sacrifice blood to survive before the chains pull them toward a wall of buzzsaws. Most of the group survives by cutting themselves, except for the unconscious man, who unfortunately wakes up too late. Their next test reveals that Carly, a thief, accidentally caused the death of an asthmatic woman. To save the others from being hanged, she must inject herself with one of 3 needles, one being an antidote to a poison in her system, another being saline, and the final one being filled with acid. She refuses, so Ryan injects her with all 3, killing her and saving the others. In their third test, Ryan attempts to escape the barn, but his leg falls through with loose floorboards and is trapped by wires that wrap around his legs. Another tape recorder reveals that he will be punished for breaking the rules and must pull a lever to be set free. Anna and Mitch become trapped inside a silo, filling up with grain and various sharp objects fleeing around them, forcing Ryan to pull the lever and sever his leg to rescue them. Detectives Halloran and Hunt investigate the discovery of corpses that appear to be the unconscious man and Carly, whose deaths fit Kramer's motive. Detective Halloran becomes suspicious of pathologist Logan Nelson and Eleanor Bonville. Eleanor reveals to Logan that she is a Jigsaw fangirl, but now fears this might incriminate her. Hunt spies and informs Halloran. Later, Edgar Munson is abducted from the hospital. In the barn, Mitch is revealed to have sold a faulty motorcycle to John's nephew, causing his death, and is tested by being lowered into a funnel with a spiral-shaped blade powered by a motorcycle engine inside. He attempts to stop the blade, but is ultimately killed. Meanwhile, Edgar Munson's corpse is found inside John Kramer's grave. Detective Halloran finds a corpse appearing to be Mitch in Eleanor's studio and calls for her and Logan's arrest. Logan convinces Hunt to let them go after telling him that the bullet which hit Edgar was fired by Halloran, whom he and Eleanor suspect to be the new Jigsaw killer. Eleanor deduces the game's location, and she and Logan head to the barn hoping to catch Halloran in the act. Anna and Ryan are shackled to pipes at opposite ends of a room back at the barn. John Kramer confronts them and reveals that Anna asphyxiated her baby and framed her husband, who later committed suicide, and Ryan's drunken history caused his friend's death in a car accident. As Detective Hunt is led to believe that Halloran is the new Jigsaw, he goes to Halloran's apartment and finds Jigsaw-shaped pieces of flesh in his freezer. For the final test, Kramer leaves the 2 remaining victims a shotgun loaded with 1 shell, saying it is their key to freedom. Logan and Eleanor are ambushed by Detective Halloran at the barn. Anna tries to shoot Ryan, but the gun backfires, killing her instead. Ryan finds the destroyed keys in the debris of the shotgun shell. Eleanor escapes Halloran while he is drugged by an unseen assailant. Logan and Halloran awaken to laser cutter collars on their neck and told to confess their sins by John Kramer. Could it be? He's alive? Halloran forces Logan to go first. Logan confesses to mislabeling John's x-rays years earlier, causing his cancer to go undiagnosed. Despite confessing, Logan is apparently killed. Halloran then admits to allowing criminals to walk free for his own personal gain, and his collar deactivates. Logan is revealed to still be alive, and the unconscious man from the first barn game, which took place 10 years ago. Realizing that Logan should not die over an honest mistake, John Kramer saved him and recruited him as his first apprentice. Logan reveals that he recreated the barn games using other criminals that Halloran let go as victims, and framed Halloran as the new Jigsaw killer as revenge for releasing Edgar Munson, who killed Logan's wife. Claiming Halloran broke the rules by forcing him to go first, Logan reactivates the collar, slicing Halloran's head open. "I speak for the dead," said Logan, and the door slams shut. Game over.
And that's our recap for Jigsaw. When they made this movie, they really tried to go back to the basics and look back on what made Saw, is what the producers came to say about it.
Okay.
Here's a clip of them talking about it.
One of the things we really tried to do in this one is get back to Saw 1. I think in Saw 1, there was a lot more thinking and a lot more jumps rather than blood and gore. And so we really tried to get back to Saw 1 in jumps, in scares, and a lot more logic.
They were looking, I mean, we bowed down to this film, but, we were hoping to go a little more usual suspects, make it a little bit more of a whodunit.
Saw 1 to us was an homage to David Fincher's Seven. We were trying to make our own little twisted version. We actually named our company Twisted Pictures. It was an homage to, so we thought we were making Seven. We didn't really realize we were making a horror film, but when we did a deal with Lionsgate to distribute it, Tim Palin, who is the head of everything creative there, said, "This is a horror film. If you call it a thriller, no one's coming. If you call it a horror film." And we're like, okay. So we set out to make a thriller and won. And that's why I think people are thinking this feels back to Saw 1 and very thriller-esque.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I kind of don't feel like they fulfilled that concept. I feel like in a few ways they did. And as far as like the whole detective side of it and figuring that out as a mystery. But I think a lot of the traps aren't very thinky at all, personally.
No, not really.
I think it's this movie I do think has good tension, but I just don't feel like it's super complex or like it doesn't have. I feel like the first Saw especially, and then Saw 2 as well, had like some kind of cerebral aspect to the mystery where this one didn't really. It was like more tension than anything.
Yeah, it was definitely like I was on the edge of my seat.
Yes.
It wasn't so much of a thinker for
Yeah.
me. I mean, typically, whenever I've been watching these movies, I'm like always trying to figure it out. And I was, but at the same time, there were so many like bits and pieces that they wanted to throw you off that I was like confused. I'm like, what am I supposed to be focusing on? I feel like they're doing too much with too little going on. You know, it was just, it didn't land for me.
Right. Fair enough. Charlie Clouser did the music for this movie. He is of Nine Inch Nails.
Love me some Nine Inch Nails.
Trent Reznor also does some movie soundtracks. I don't know if you know. He did the soundtrack for The Social Network. I think is the one
Did
he's
not know that one.
most notable for. And Charlie Clouser has actually done every soundtrack for all the Saw movies up to this point.
Damn, did not know that.
Yeah. Let me give you guys some of the landscape. The year for this movie is 2017. It's the year that me and you, Geraldine, it's the year we met.
That is the year we met, yes.
Yeah, it feels like it's been so long ago now. It's been 6 years now, I guess.
Man, we're old.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's so weird. I remember meeting you for the first time, Geraldine. You were like a deer out in headlights, a fawn, right? You know, you come from Greenbrier,
I do.
you know, a quaint small city. And I remember when you came into the big city, you know, at least for you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were you had a hard time adapting. I remember I had to calm. I was like, Geraldine, stop screaming. The first time you saw a blender behind the bar because you didn't know what was going on. It's contraption. You're used to butter churners.
Oh my God.
But it's electron. It uses electricity. And it has blades and they whirl around. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm Amish, apparently.
Do you remember?
No, because that didn't happen.
This isn't how you remember us meeting.
No.
Yeah.
How I remember us meeting is me being loud, you being very quiet, and you being like, man, what's up with her? Or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
usually how it is when people meet me. I'm loud.
You think so? Yeah.
Obnoxious. Especially my laugh. If you guys get me laughing, it's that authentic laugh. It's very annoying.
I like that description, authentic.
It is authentic. If it's not an authentic laugh, you ain't that funny. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I remember, like, I just know people know when I'm there. And that's something
Yeah.
I've always been told growing up. Is like, I would go to school with my brother. Poor guy. And he would be like 2 grades below me. And if he was in the same school that I was in, he said that sometimes he would be in class. And if I was like in the hallways, like laughing or something, he would know. And he'd be like, oh, God. And be annoyed. And I was like.
So he could hear you all the way from the classroom.
Always. And I would also embarrass him when I saw him. I'd be like, Dagan! When I saw him in the hallways. I was that sister.
Do you think he looks back on these memories and he cherishes them? Like, oh, that was
No, he probably hates me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you think would win in like a foot race between you and your brother?
Why do you call it a foot race? I really don't understand. I just don't. I don't like the phrasing
Look,
for the
Geraldine,
foot race. I don't.
It's because you race with your feet. Like I know
But,
you
like-
went to school in a small city, but over here, you know, foot race, you race on your feet.
But why can't you just? I feel like it's kind of.
It's just when you think of
implied.
race, Geraldine.
Whenever I'm like, but if it's just you and I, and we're standing outside somewhere, but we don't have anything else around us.
It's just
Hey, you want to race?
here in the
Like,
big
hey, let's
city.
let's race to the trash can over there.
Here
That's
in the big
implied to
city,
me
we
that
have
you're using
vehicles.
your feet.
We have cars.
But why would we? This is not Fast and Furious or Need for Speed.
But we're surrounded by cars. So if you say race, people think cars, or maybe in Greenbrier horses. But here, like, so if you want a foot race, you race with your feet, Geraldine.
I just feel like it's implied when you're like, hey man, you want to race all the way to there and back?
Well, it's just if I asked
What
you,
else would you
if
use?
you and Dagan raced, the question would be like, race how? Like, in what method would we be racing? But if you said foot race, then it's already a given, you know? It's just not hard to understand, Geraldine.
I
That's
just
the problem.
don't.
It bothers me that you claim to have never heard of the terminology. That
I've
it's
never
foot
heard
race.
anybody say want a foot race.
You never heard the term foot race?
No, I've always heard, hey, you want to race?
So if you heard somebody say, who do you think would win in a race between Dominic Toretto and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, would you think foot race?
I would probably think maybe, yeah.
No, you think of a car.
You're assuming I'm thinking car. If you say, hey, who would win in a race between you and me? I'm thinking just racing with feet.
Geraldine, he's saying that because both those characters are Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and I wouldn't know. I knew Dwayne The Rock Johnson was in those movies, but I don't know the other person.
Vin Diesel?
Why'd you call him by his government name?
No, Dominic Toretto's his name in the movie.
I didn't know that.
And I couldn't remember Dwayne The Rock Johnson's name in the movie. He's just The Rock. I don't care what role he plays, he's The Rock. All right,
Okay.
moving on. Some films released in 2017 include The Shape of Water.
That's a beautiful film. If you have not seen it, literally see it.
I haven't seen it, and it's a Guillermo del Toro movie, isn't it?
Yes, it is beautiful.
I'll-
It's so strange, but so good.
I'll definitely have to watch it. Coco was released in 2017.
Big stat. I cry every time.
That movie destroyed me.
Happy Halloween to everyone except for
Oh.
you, Ernesto de la Cruz.
And it's the month now, October, to go watch that.
It is.
The Greatest Showman.
This movie is good, but I don't know, something about happy.
A lot of people don't like it.
Happy. I don't know why. I'm very much
I'm
in
okay
the.
with it.
I'm in the majority there.
Minority.
I feel like it's a majority that I don't like it.
Oh, you
but
don't like it?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Listen, I love all the actors in it, and it's a well done film, and the music is beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Do you like Les Miserables?
I do,
See, I
but
don't
that's
like that
also
one.
because that music is very sad. I don't like a good happy sounding song when I'm going to see musicals. I like emotion.
Okay, what are you talking about?
I don't know. I like to feel something, and that movie was just too.
Too happy for you?
Yeah, but I mean, I also know the premise. It's about like P.T. Barnum and shit like that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Fair enough.
Seen it.
Talking about music, Starboy by The Weeknd featuring Daft Punk came out this year.
I'm a starboy.
I
Yeah.
do like that song. Despacito by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee came out.
This song felt like it lasted forever.
Yeah, it was big for like a long time.
A long time.
Yeah, I thought it was cool in general that we were getting some like to me like it looked like the first time we really saw like out non-English music get popular in the States.
It was cool. I mean,
And
it's
now
a
we
good
see it all
song.
the time.
It's a good song. It's got a nice beat and stuff, but I felt like that song lasted forever. I was like, I could hear it everywhere. I was like,
Talking about Shape of Water, Shape of You by Ed Sheeran came out this year.
hate that song.
You don't like it?
I love Ed Sheeran as a person.
You don't like his music?
I don't care for his music. It's just not
Do you have a favorite song?
like by him.
Yeah.
There's a song called Small Bump. It's about like, I think he's talking to like his unborn child or something. It's kind
Oh
of,
wow.
I think that's what it's about. It's not, I don't know, big trigger warning. I don't know. It's really, or maybe a small bump could be like Coke. I don't know.
Or maybe he
I'm
is
just
talking
kidding.
about his like
No.
ass or something. Small bump.
No, I think it's talking about an unborn child. But it's a really sweet song. That's
Okay.
probably my favorite one. But the rest, I'm just like,
I'll take your word. What do you think about his looks?
what about them?
Do they like get you riled up?
No,
Make you want to go see a concert?
No,
in,
I would not.
London.
pay money to see that. No offense to anybody who would though. I just don't. It's not my music. Not my person. Not my guy.
Not your guy.
Not my jam.
Not your Strami army.
Exactly. Now I just recently went to a concert and it was a blast.
You had fun.
Yeah, we went to go see the Midnight, and
Yeah.
that is like 80s kind of sounding music.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And you didn't have any problems at the venue?
No, I totally did. You know this, and that's why you're making me say
I
it.
forget. I have bad memory.
This lady just didn't seem like she was enjoying herself the whole time, and everyone else was like, dancing, singing, having a good time,
Yeah.
and she was like. The whole time, and I'm like, girl, go home.
She's just stoic,
But also, she
standing
just
still.
kept like making fun of people who were dancing and enjoying themselves, and would like do this weird, stupid line dance, and like would kind of back up on me, and I'm like, are you aware there's a person here?
Yeah.
I hate people.
So what'd you do? Did you retaliate?
No, because I have social anxiety, so I was literally like, I didn't say anything or do anything, and my
But in
boyfriend
your
was
head-
like, tell her to move, and I'm like, I'm not trying to fight somebody at a concert, because I don't know.
Now, I will say, I need to talk to Patrick about this because in the situation that you do, I need him to record it. I need to watch that video and see that go down.
What if I'm like low key crazy? Like what if
I don't think you're low-key crazy.
what if I'm like somebody like makes something just like they
Something
just
snaps.
snap at me, like the
Yeah.
show Snap, women snapping.
No.
My mom used to watch the show growing up, and it would always scare me and my brother. We'd be
Was it
like,
like real life footage or stuff?
no, but it's like true crime by like
Okay.
women snapping and killing their husbands and stuff. My mom would just joke and be like, I'm getting ideas,
Oh.
But it's
okay.
a joke, obviously.
Li-
But yeah, what if I do?
I have some questions about this movie I'd like to ask you.
Go for it.
What do you think about this movie aesthetically? I feel like this movie is a departure from previous films, and I want to get into some things that really didn't make any sense to me here.
Okay.
One, why are there LED screens?
What do you mean?
Well, this movie is supposed to take place before the events of Saw 1.
Right. Which LED screen though?
Several. Anytime that Billy the Puppet was shown, he was on a flat screen TV. He wasn't on a
That's
CRT.
true. That's true. Yeah, thematically it doesn't make sense.
And Billy the Puppet has a new design where he has like LED red eyes.
I don't know.
You're not supposed to think about it.
Bro, it makes no sense.
But I mean, I'm with you there though. If it doesn't match the time period, that's annoying.
It doesn't only match, and also I feel like the traps in general don't line up to what he was building at the time. Like at the end of this movie, you see them constructing the reverse bear trap, right?
Uh-huh.
Which doesn't make sense that it would come after all this other crap that he just did.
Yeah, these were way too advanced.
Yeah, they were a little too much.
I'm not saying that
Too
John Kramer.
complicated.
Yeah, way too complicated.
For you starting off?
Yeah, but like, he took you under his wing. I'm tired of these stories. I'm tired of them.
Yeah.
How many
The
people
Apprentice.
How many people is he gonna take under his wings?
How
Is he
many
just,
disciples?
How many disciples? Exactly. Who's this man thinks he is? Jesus? I mean, what the hell? Like, how many people are you gonna actually like be like, hey, I'm gonna teach you my trade.
My problem is I don't mind that there's a lot of people that follow him.
I
My
mind.
problem for me is when they use it as a twist each time.
Get a new
I've
fucking
seen it a
twist.
million
Yeah.
times, and then they show me like, oh, if you twist the camera a little further, you'll see Mark Hoffman. If you twist it further, you'll see Logan. I'm like, I don't know if I buy it this many times. We've done it 3 times already between Amanda Hoffman and Gordon. Then I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of, give me something else.
Exactly. And the thing that kills me though with it is like, first of all, Jigsaw has made it clear in the past movies, it's never personal. Bitch, please.
He's lying.
He's lying through his
Every
teeth.
time.
So you're telling me he's gonna spare you of all the people that he has personally been, like, because you accidentally labeled the wrong X-ray because of your carelessness. He's gonna save you.
I disagree with this because I think that isn't what he was talking about. Because he said careless mistake. I don't think the careless mistake was Logan mixing that up. When he said careless mistake, I think he was talking on behalf of John Kramer. Because remember, at the beginning of the movie, he woke up way too late in the trap, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was John's mistake. So he never got the full chance that everybody else did. So that's why he went in there and stopped the trap.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that was way too aggressive of me.
Because of the mistake he made. No, I don't think so.
Okay, but that's how I interpreted it, and I was like, what? He wouldn't save you. But, I mean, it just doesn't, like, how many people does he have working under him? Does he really think that each of these people are just going to fold like a lawn chair?
Yeah.
Like,
I
under
don't
the
know.
pressure? I just don't understand.
And none of them are great at it. Like, none of them take, like, his, like, philosophy and extend it. They all kind of end up twisting it. Mm-hmm. So it's, like, not even working the way he would want it to.
And not to mention, I don't know, none of these people do what John Kramer would have done. He didn't kill explicitly. He gave people the choice, which is still kind of whatever.
He wasn't
wanna-
as brutal as Hoffman, and he wasn't as, like, I mean, Amanda didn't even let anybody survive the traps. So obviously they're as disciples, like, they don't follow in his footsteps.
No.
Which
is, I mean, essentially, there are some religious undertones if you want to get deep
okay,
into
you know what,
it,
you're right. I can kind of see that now you mention it.
because nobody could live up to his image.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about the barn setting we have here?
The what?
The barn setting, like this
Oh, the
movie
barn.
takes place in a barn.
I thought you said Barden. I was like,
What do you think about the barn?
The barn is interesting, but I also, it feels kind of sloppy. I don't know. Not in like what a barn should feel like sloppy way, but I mean like in a sense that it's like in an isolated location, but you can also still manage to exit. I feel like this, I mean, at least John Kramer in the previous films would have this barn in a warehouse.
I could see that.
You know, he had everything thought out.
I don't mind it too much, and they do show somebody when they attempt to escape, like they suffer some consequences. So
Yeah.
I think it kind of tries to explain it away that way. Did the twist in this movie surprise you at all?
I really, for a second, they really had me believing for 1 minute that John Kramer was living. And I was like,
Yeah.
my man's alive? But, so I mean, they tricked silly old me for a minute there.
Yeah.
But then when they finally revealed, I was like, but that does not make sense. This does not make sense at all because we literally saw him get his throat slit.
And seeing him like get dissected essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to believe he's still
I
running
was
around.
like, Jalen. Like, use your brain. Use your noggin.
I have a fun little question for you.
Okay.
Let's play a little game
All
here,
right.
as Jigsaw would say.
Say it in the voice, so.
Let's play a game.
Okay.
Okay, you got Marry, Fuck, Kill here.
Okay.
And you have John Kramer,
Okay.
Logan Nelson from this movie,
Okay.
and Mark Hoffman.
Okay. I would kill Hoffman.
Oh, no.
I'm not sorry about
And
it.
his luscious lips?
And his luscious lips. I would marry John Kramer.
Oh, okay.
And I would fuck Logan Nelson because he is beautiful.
He is an attractive man.
He's very attractive.
Now, I haven't ever seen Matt Passmore in anything, and I've never seen any of the Insidious movies, but I've seen the poster for Insidious, and he looks like the guy from Insidious.
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson?
Yes, he's beautiful.
You enjoy his work.
He is beautiful. He also recently directed the newest Insidious film, which is really
Oh,
exciting.
really?
Mhm.
Wow, that is exciting. That is interesting.
Very, very fun.
I found myself enjoying Logan Nelson.
I like him as well, but I don't know. There's something annoying about him too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just people who really think they can live up to the standard that somebody has set, like the greats.
Uh-huh.
You just never will. It's
It
like,
bugs you.
It's like, to me, people trying to recreate
Oh, wow.
anything with Tim Curry in it. That man is a god to me.
So if they wanted to do another Rocky Horror, you're not for it?
You can't. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. Nobody is outdoing Tim Curry.
Right.
He did amazing. He set the standard.
Yeah.
You can recreate it and do your own version, your own twist, but
Okay.
it's not going to be the same. And don't try to be the same.
Of course.
It's like
But
Will-
so would it
Will-
upset you if it was announced tomorrow that they're making a remake of Rocky
Yes,
Horror Picture
because
Show?
in some sense and fashion, it gets tiring when people are just remaking the same things.
That's
over
all
and
we get
over.
nowadays, it feels like.
It is all we get nowadays, and I'm kind of over it. I want to see new stories.
What did you think of Detective Holleran?
He was annoying.
You didn't like him?
No, I also get tired of like getting introduced to new detectives. Like, shut
Every
up.
movie.
Shut up.
Yeah. They don't last long usually.
They don't.
Unless your
And
last name is
why-
Hoffman.
Like, why did we get introduced to these new people for no reason again? Like, if we don't see any of these characters in Spiral, because I haven't seen Spiral yet, I'm gonna be annoyed. Like, what was it for?
We also get Hannah Emily Anderson as Eleanor Bonneville.
Yeah.
What a name, Eleanor Bonneville.
What was her nickname?
Was it just Elle?
I think so. Something like that. I liked her. She was cool.
She was cool, yeah.
Also, I mean, even though her tattoos did definitely look fake, she had like a sleeve of tattoos,
Yeah.
which I thought was cool in the movie. And I was like, what a cool, like, you guys work in a morgue kind of thing. You're the coroners.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Interesting
And also,
description.
she's got like tattoos.
What makes her character odd is that she like is kind of into all like the gore and like the legacy of Jigsaw. She's a fangirl.
What makes it worse to me is that we do get these people IRL who are like this, though. With
Yeah.
like, for example, we've talked about it before in some of the previous podcasts, where people like idolize these actual serial killers. And in this film, in this world, Jigsaw is a real killer, that kind of thing. Actually killed people by his like twisted machines and stuff. Obviously, to us at home or an audience, this is fake. So it's whatever. We have that disconnect, so we're able to make that disconnection. But in real life, there are people who actually idolize these actual killers, send them fan letters,
Yeah.
marry them while they're in prison and shit. And it's like, dude, that's really fucked up.
It is strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like there is a deep fascination with people like this.
And that's, I understand wanting to understand the psyche. I understand that. Like,
What drives somebody to do this?
yeah. And like, is there something like literally missing? Or like, is it simply just their upbringing that shapes the way that like they grow up to be this way? Like, there's a lot of like psychological questions and like sociological questions that it leaves in me as a person about like, oh, you never know, they look like normal people,
Yeah.
and then they're not, you know. But
What is a normal person now, though? You know, I think there's a lot of these dark, awful things that resides in all of us. I think.
Yeah.
It's just like whatever lets it free, you know, to explore
I
itself.
mean, it's all about the moral compass and what
Yeah.
people like have in their own heart, that they're like, this is right, this is wrong, this
Yeah.
is right, this is wrong. And if you don't have that, then obviously you're more likely to be more risky with the things that you do in your life, which is crazy. But I mean, it's a whole conversation surrounding mental health and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure now we probably have way less of these kinds of people walking amongst us.
I disagree. I think it's the other way around.
I think it would be less likely because I think a lot of these people might have like the awareness and are probably seeking help.
I'm thinking more just population size. You know, the bigger the population, the bigger, more weirdos there are, you know?
I mean, nothing wrong with being weird, but
I mean, how
just
many
don't.
serial killers do you hear about in China?
Well, I mean, I don't hear anything from China.
don't-
They got
I
that
don't-
place locked down tight.
They do. Tight. I mean, I don't know, you know?
No. We have our victims here. We have Anna, Ryan, Mitch, and Carly.
Yeah, I was not a fan of any of them. They're all boring.
You don't like any of them?
Well, okay. The one I did like was the one who got killed in the gnarly trap. It was really cool. It was the big, like,
the blender?
torpedo looking thing, the human blender, essentially.
Yeah.
That shit was cool as fuck looking. I was
That was
like,
weird.
that was cool. I liked it.
It's literally getting eviscerated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy. That looked rough.
Yeah, that one I feel like was the big trap of this movie, and it kind of hypes up throughout the film, like seeing that we have this big twisty machine that can like human blend you.
But that also doesn't look like, obviously it just doesn't seem like Jigsaw. It doesn't seem like John Kramer.
The effects in this movie are also a lot more prominent. We can tell that there's a lot of CGI in this movie with like all the gore. While in previous films we avoided that a bit.
Which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with CGI, but I mean, there's just the use of practical effects. Just, I don't know, it just creates this element of like it just looks more real.
I agree.
So, I think there can be some use of CGI, but I think like sometimes in like the newer aged horror movies, you do lose that kind of like that love.
I
there.
agree.
You never answered your own question.
Personally, if I was to marry, fuck, kill between John Kramer, Logan Nelson, and Mark Hoffman, it is a difficult question to ask. Now, we have seen the fate of Jill Tuck.
Yeah.
So marrying John Kramer, I don't know if I could deal with it. He gives strong type A controlling energy, personally.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would work for me. However, Logan Nelson, I feel like he has such a sweet side, personally.
To me, I need somebody to make decisions for me.
Okay.
I can't make
You need somebody to wear the
decisions.
pants.
So John Kramer would be
Okay, that works for you. So I think I'm marrying Logan Nelson, right?
okay.
Now, the next question isn't really about killing, but who I would like to lay in bed with. Now, I don't think I'd want to lie in bed with John Kramer.
Why?
Because one, we saw in the first movie that he can lie there for a really long time.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't seem very passionate. Somebody who is passionate, Mark Hoffman. He's like a brutal force.
I mean, if we're gonna like speak specifically though, only Mark Hoffman from Saw 7.
Yeah. So I think I'd go with Mary Logan Nelson, fuck Mark Hoffman, and unfortunately kill John Kramer.
He's coming after you. You chose to kill me.
Yeah. I'll be waking up in a saw trap next. Now, this movie did make a good bit of money. The budget was $10 million.
Okay.
Ended up making $104 million at the box office, which
Wow.
is 10 times its budget. So, like I said before, it's what greenlit Spiral and Saw X.
Interesting.
Yes. So I'm glad people came out to see it because now we get more Saw movies, which
That's
I
true.
enjoy. I know you were complaining about it, or you said that your family said
Yeah, a lot of
why they
peop-
keep making it.
Yeah, they're like, if that one was literally my boyfriend was like, if that one was the final chapter, why are they still making them? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I didn't
For
write
money,
the series.
of course.
If
Fans want it, they
Yeah.
want to come back.
I mean, like, if they made more like Halloween movies, I wouldn't be upset by it. But,
Exactly.
like, we'll have to talk about it when we get to it because they have the way that they ended the franchise. I was so upset with as a fan.
I am a big fan. Like I feel like I do the same. If I ever make anything, I would like to publicly say this is the last album I'm coming out with, and then 3 years later come out with a new album.
Why?
It's just for fun. I feel like, and also it's good promotion.
But that makes sense though, because you like to troll people.
I wouldn't say trolling people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it that. We have less traps in this movie than we did in the last movie.
I feel like a lot.
We have the bucket room trap.
That one was kind of cool.
this trap kind of brings up a problem I have with a few things in this movie.
Okay.
Where there are things that happen and the way things are shot and filmed that are only shot that way so the audience doesn't understand a certain thing that they want to reveal later to us. And this is one of the first examples where they all have buckets on their heads for no reason. And it's only to keep Logan's identity a secret from the audience. But they don't actually need to have any of the bucket heads on them. And I just think like if there's not a story reason for it, it makes it less appealing. I do like the idea of like them being pulled towards something.
Yeah.
But I like this better when they did it in Saw 5 and that was the necktie trap.
Yeah.
And they had to go get the key and they were being
Definitely.
pulled backwards or else they'd be decapitated. I enjoy that more than just like heading towards some circular saws on the wall.
1000%. Yeah, I'm with you there.
The chain hanger is also not like one of my favorite traps. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that they're being pulled on by a chain room to room. I don't mind that. But I just feel like there's not really much of a pleasing effect. Like, I guess they're all going to get hanged if she doesn't pick one of these syringes. But that's so basic to me. Like, that's like kind of...
Yeah, you basic bitch, Logan.
There's a lot of like mechanical stuff in engineering like we do typically in Saw movies, but like the effect that ultimately gets like the product of it is just like a noose. So it really doesn't do it for me. And also the kill here where Carly gets all 3 syringes into her. The idea sounds like, oh my gosh, wicked, that somebody would grab. One of the syringes has the antidote. One of them is just
Saline
solution that you put your contacts in. And then the third one is
Acid.
So you have to pick wisely. And she doesn't want to pick one, so another contestant just shoves all 3 of them into the side of her neck, which in my head conceptually sounds like, oh my God, that is terrifying. But visually speaking, she's just kind of lying there with a little bit of blood coming out of her ear,
her
basically.
skin's bubbling. What do you mean?
A little bit. It's
little
like
bit.
barely noticeable.
It's eating her
Maybe if it was
alive
bubbling
from
and
the
then it
inside out.
popped, that'd be something. But it didn't really do much
I'm
for
sure
me.
they wanted it to kind of be like a realistic effect in general, though.
And I think that's some of my problems with this too. Like, even when we see people get cut up by the bucket room, it just looks like, ouchie, my back. You know what I mean? It doesn't look gruesome at all to me. So I feel like we're missing out on a little bit of that.
Even though I don't know, my words are not working today. I'm very interested in that complaint from you, considering you typically not liking horror movies.
No, but we've seen so many of these.
You want a more gruesome movie, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I
do.
like that.
I do. I've come to expect that from Saw.
Yes,
You know,
they have set that standard.
When we had the rack, when we've had the needle pit, I wanted like to see some like visual suspense, some intensity.
Something that makes you cringe when you watch it. Like,
Yeah, and this movie didn't do that for me.
No,
I
it
think
didn't
the
either.
chain hanger, the needles, gave it to me a little bit, and the concept idea was there, but I don't think the execution was great.
Yeah.
The leg wire,
Boring.
I enjoyed it a little more, just
Me too,
a
but I
bit.
mean,
But yeah, like
still boring.
It's still kind of boring. You know, he steps into a trap basically, and his leg suddenly gets wrapped around with wires.
I do like the thing is like free yourself, and he's like, "Oh, I know what this means."
Yeah, if you pull the lever, it'll free him.
Yeah.
But of course, it means
Free him in Jigsaw terms.
yeah, in Jigsaw terms.
I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
Which eventually he does, and there's another CGI scene, of course, where like his leg isn't really there. It's just 3 little bits that end up getting. I mean, that hurts. Like, it kind of reminds you if you ever get something caught around your finger.
It hurts.
It
So
hurts.
bad.
And it's particularly if you pulled it all the way and
You know
it
what's
fell off.
worse? Being a woman with long hair in general, it sucks. One time I was wearing a sock, and one of my hairs somehow crept into my sock, and my toe. I was like, man, my feet are really killing me today. When I took my sock off later, there was a hair wrapped tightly around one of my toes, and I
What?
didn't know. And yeah,
And
it
your toe
hurt.
was like all purple.
Not super
And
purple,
you had to
but
make the choice like Gordon did and
No, it
saw it
wasn't.
off.
I wouldn't be able to make the choice. I'd
No.
be like, put me under, guys, put me under.
You know, this is going to be so off topic
Okay,
right now.
go for it.
It just, a memory came back into my head, something I haven't thought about in a decade at least.
Okay.
Do you remember a show? I don't know if it was a show or a short on TV, but one of the clips, one of the plot lines, it was like a gentleman who has a hard time walking because he's missing his big toe. And then there's a scene where like they wrap the big toe around and put it like kind of like a hot air balloon, and it flies away into the sky.
Are you sure this wasn't some sort of fever dream?
Does that not ring any bells?
No.
I'm gonna have to Reddit this later because I just remember that.
Please find it and like send me the link.
Did you enjoy the grain silo trap?
I did. I thought it was kind of cool, but I also didn't feel like it was John Kramer, you know?
More use of CGI here. All those falling objects, of course, aren't real.
Yeah.
Again, also some modern cinematography and how it was shown, which I think is okay. I'm open to the concept. I'm really open-minded. I hope this doesn't make me sound like, oh my gosh, it's not the same as before.
No practical effects.
And it just didn't get the feeling for me is the problem. And inside
It
the
did
grain
give me
silo,
some anxiety.
they
I
had
was
the
like,
flat
whoa.
screen in there.
That's true.
And I'm just like, why did he just decide? And this, so if this is true to the timeline, this would have taken place about 2003.
Which we didn't really have those then.
No, so John Kramer must have been really a fucking ahead of his time to have like the hookup to get LCD screens.
Best Buy, Geek Squad.
And then he decides, oh, you know what? I don't like him. I'm gonna get the CRTs instead.
Yeah, I'm with you on that gripe.
And he's also here. I don't know if you remember, but like during the movie, if we see like Saw 3 or even the first Saw, when you first see the reverse bear trap, you know, you see Billy the puppet come on the TV, right? And you see like the camera kind of pans and you see like it's choppy, there's static in it. But when you
This one was clear as day, wasn't it?
this one was clear as day. And whenever you saw him, when you saw Billy the puppet talk on screen, it was like he was a vlogger. He was like standing in the middle of the frame.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
Yeah, talking directly to the camera. And I'm like, what? This isn't the right thing. I don't know. And this would have made more sense to me if the movie wasn't affiliated with the previous ones, but it obviously is. I mean, Tobin Bell is in the movie.
Right.
And they try to trick you into thinking he's around, but really the whole big twist of this movie is that all of the stuff that you were seeing was part of a flashback. And that all these people that were in the trap had already been through this 10 years ago.
Yeah, the math ain't mathin' for me.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me.
I don't like it when movies do this, when they are like, this is the supposed timeline.
I
but
don't
we
mind if they
fudged
nail it.
up.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that a little bit with Texas Chainsaw in the last season.
God, yeah.
Where
3D or whatever it was.
Yeah, Leatherface 3D.
Go do your thing, cuz.
I loved it.
It was so stupid.
I love that line. And what's the other one?
Oh, it was something like, I can't remember what his family name was. It was something different. She's like, you're a this? Well, I'm a Sawyer.
Yeah.
Like, shut up. You just found out.
And then she bangs on the back seat. I love it.
Yeah. I'm crazy now.
Yeah.
So dumb.
We also have the cycle chat that we both said we enjoyed. This Dumbo, Mitch over here, they were able to stop the human blender, right? She like rammed a rod into this bicycle.
Yeah. Wasn't his name Ryan who went through it?
No, you're right. It was Ryan. Mitch was the leg wire guy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, Ryan, I liked him as a character. But like all of these were so personal. It's so funny. Except for, I think.
It was so personal.
He's like, you killed my nephew. And I was like,
No, wait. Ryan is the kid is Mitch.
the kid is Mitch?
Yeah, that's Mitch.
That doesn't look like a Mitch. That looks like a Ryan.
I think
The
you're
older
kinda
guy
right.
looks like a Mitch.
I
They
agree.
fudged up the names here too.
You're like, they fucked up the names.
Yeah, they fucked up the time. What else did they fuck
Yeah.
up?
Ryan was kind of a comedic relief. A lot of people don't like that he had a joke in there that was like when, by the way, they get like a human-sized Billy the Puppet that rolls out in the bar.
Yeah.
What the heck?
He's not ever been human sized.
No, he's always been this tiny little puppet. I don't like it. But whenever Ryan sees it, he's like, well, that's not creepy at all.
Yeah.
Which is like this very Marvel humor kind of thing. I didn't like it personally, but I don't
Well, I
hate
thought
it.
he was a dick, but I was kind of like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, he seems like your kind of fella, if I'm being honest. Like the guy you'd hang out with.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think so.
disagree.
Mitch, on the other hand, he's like a little bit helpful. But he did let's talk about the sins of these people. They're all in here for a reason. Where
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk about them in the order I believe to be like best to worst. That's what like which one it would like. I'll say who saved the worst for last.
Okay.
But we have Carly.
Yeah.
Who's a thief.
Yep.
And she mugs a lady. She takes her purse snatcher over here, and this lady chases her down. She has a little bit of money in her wallet, and she has her inhaler.
$3 though.
$3.55. She sees the woman chasing her. She falls to the floor, and because she can't breathe anymore, she needs her inhaler. But instead of trying to help her, the thief, Carly, just runs away with the money, and she dies for $3.50, right? Mm-hmm. And that's Carly. Worse than her, we have Ryan, who's just a shit show.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like basically a con artist. The scene that we get featured most prominently in the film is that he and his friends were drunk driving, and he was just like, you know, they had one of those sunroofs, so he was like, "Woo, party time!"
Party.
Yeah, like
raise the roof.
like he's on a bachelor party kind of deal, and his
Yeah.
friends are like, get down. But while they're trying to get him off the sunroof, they crash into another car. Ryan's fine because Ryan just ends up like falling out of the sunroof, so he's not involved in the crash at all. But because of him, his two friends get into a head-on collision. Cool scene. I mean, this was kind of
Yeah.
practical. This wouldn't happen like this, and it doesn't look like anybody would be hurt from this car accident, actually.
Right.
But you know, his friends passed away, and since then he's been having like thing after another of him being a cheat, liar, whatever you have it.
Yeah, he's like, I cheated on my wife. I lied on my job. Like all of these things that he was like, yeah, I've done bad things.
Yeah, he's not the best guy.
Yeah, no.
Oh, and worse than him, in my opinion, we have Mitch. Mitch, who, you know, made an online Facebook marketplace posting about a motorcycle for $500, excellent condition, he says. But when somebody comes to pick it up, the brakes don't work. He gives him the $500, but when he's driving off, not 10 minutes later, his brakes aren't working, and he gets into a terrible accident, killing him.
That's wild.
That's awful.
I could not knowingly sell something bad to
That'll
anybody.
hurt somebody like
Exactly.
that. Yeah. And what makes this weird, though, is that kid ended up being John Kramer's nephew.
To think that John Kramer has siblings.
Now, that is interesting to me. Like, if
wanna
we
meet them.
explore, like, the
Some
John Kramer
family.
family.
Yeah. Kind of like Texas Chainsaw. Is it all in the family? Are we all doing things?
Yeah. Now, that would be a way to bring Tobin
know-
Bell back.
You know what another
Secret
one?
twin brother
No.
who's
Please
still
don't.
alive.
No. No.
I would anything to bring him back.
No. I mean, we can still get flashbacks, yes, but no.
Come
not-
on. Yeah, Bob and Tell.
Bob and Tell. No. That just reminds me of like Friends. They did something like that, and like because Joey was in Days of Our Lives in that TV show.
Oh, he was. Oh, and they give a story explanation that was his twin?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
that's
was
funny.
Dr. Drake Ramore, but then he came back as his evil twin brother.
I
forgot-
love stuff like that.
It's so dumb. It's
That's
so
why I
soapy.
like it. I
don't-
love soapy
but like,
tropes.
Saw is not soapy.
I cannot believe I disagree. Saw is like soap opera. Like there's all this like I was there the whole time, or like I'm not really dead. Like John Kramer is theatrical,
He is theatrical. I will give you that.
and especially like Saw 5 and
You know
6.
what
I
would
feel
be
like it
dope?
is a soap drama.
You know what would be dope? If, well, and this might be triggering, so just, I'm going to be careful with my language here, but if Gideon was actually born and they just lied.
That is interesting, yeah. And he grows up to
Yeah.
look just like Tobin Bell,
Oh my God.
and then Tobin Bell reprises the role.
But then it would be like, why does he look 50? You're so funny.
We have the aging tools. It's okay.
No, leave the aging tools alone.
You
They
cannot-
haven't mastered it. They need to stop with the aging tools.
I love the de-aging stuff. I think some of it looks amazing.
Some of it does in
Like-
some movies. We'll definitely talk about it whenever we get to one of my favorite movies that has done it successfully. But
You cannot tell me that Mark Hoffman doesn't look like he's from a soap opera.
he definitely does.
With his like chiseled chin and his big lips.
If they had replaced him with the guy who played Joey from Friends, I wouldn't have told.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
right?
able to tell you
Yeah.
the difference.
Mhm.
It's more telenovela
Yeah.
than like American soap opera.
Okay.
With I was there the whole time.
Yeah, like the big
Under
reveal.
you and cement, alive, you know, that kind of.
What did you think about the shotgun keys?
The shotgun keys.
I'm also trying to remember what this is. What is the shotgun keys?
Oh, I remember what this was. This was the thing that John Kramer built at the end, and he was like, "You both have to free yourself," kind
I
of
hate
thing.
this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate it so much because he says he gives a great performance. It's Tobin Bell.
It's Tobin Bell. He always is
He
great.
gives a great
However,
performance. I love his lines and dialogues. He says, and he even hypes up the trap a little bit. I'm like, because he's like, oh, like this next one, it's simple. The best traps are. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are we going to get another reverse bear trap level trap here? And he holds up a little shotgun shell and he's like, here is your key to salvation. And then he loads this one shell into the shotgun, puts the shotgun down. There's 2 people in the room tied up. And then he's like, live or die, make your choice. And then he walks out. So John Kramer's gone. I don't know where he goes. Like maybe get some Starbies or something.
Starbies.
Meanwhile, Anna is like, okay, well, this means I have to kill you. And if I kill you, I get to live. Which, what kind of logic is that?
That's girl math right there.
Yeah. And literally right before the end of that, like Ryan was like, wait a second. He says we've all got it backwards. Anna, no. But it's too late. She then pulls the trigger, kills Ryan. But he's right. It was backwards. Instead of shooting him, it blows back onto her. So she accidentally kills herself. And then Ryan looks through the like rummages of this stuff and finds out there's 2 broken keys.
She was the worst of them all, so I was not upset to see her go.
There was 2 keys inside the shotgun shell. We could have both survived. But this isn't a trap, in my opinion, because they weren't giving anything. So the only trick here was to understand that John Kramer is like a sassy asshole. And when he said, this is your salvation, when he was holding up the shotgun shell, he meant it literally that the keys were in the shotgun shell.
See, this is my problem though. This is how I know I would not survive. It's because he's so like particular with his language.
Yeah.
I'd be like, wait. It'd be like that little. I always forget what the meme is called, but it's the one where it's like the a partip redact.
A partip redact. What? A partip redact scavern. What are you talking? Raverdent scavern.
Yeah, that meme. I'd be like that.
Yeah.
What?
You'd have to rewind the tape, play it a couple more times.
Yes, I'd be like.
What did he say?
Can I get subtitles? Please?
I got 60 seconds left.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah. I just really didn't like the trap. I agree with you, though. She's the worst of them all.
She is the worst of them all.
Because throughout the whole movie, we've been showing scenes of what she did. And she said all she did was she didn't know she was being punished for somebody else's actions, her husband's action.
Bitch.
Because her husband fell asleep, and this happens in real life a lot, next to the baby in bed. And that he rolled over, accidentally suffocated her. And that he went to jail because of that.
That is so effing sad.
It is sad, and it's something that does happen. But the twisted part is that she was lying. This didn't happen. In reality, Anna was, while her husband was sleeping, she was with the baby, and the baby would just not stop screaming. And it was getting on her last nerve that she decided to smother her own baby.
Trigger warning. Yeah.
Which is awful. Like,
really
it's awful. And this does happen too. I mean, like, there's a lot of, I forget what it's called, but post-traumatic birth, whatever.
Not PTSD, but postpartum depression.
Postpartum depression.
PPD.
She obviously suffered from this, and unfortunately the baby suffered the consequences. But then she took the baby and laid it right next to her husband in bed and called the cops so that he would be the one to get in trouble with it. And then when he went to prison, he couldn't bear with the guilt of what he's done, and he hung himself.
That is so sad.
So she lost her child and her husband because of her mistake. So I agree with you. I think she's definitely the worst of the bunch.
It just makes me really, really sad.
Yeah.
Like that one really, I don't know. That one got me particularly. I think it's just because knowing that I have a niece and stuff, I feel like I don't know. It just hits me differently because I just can't imagine especially like a baby so helpless. Like a baby is a helpless thing until a certain age. Like you just kill it. Wow. It's like also animals, same thing. Like if you kill an animal or a baby, someone needs to get you back. Sorry.
Well, she did get got back.
She did get got back. Well, she got herself.
Yeah, she got herself. Yeah.
Oh, it was rewarding because she sucked anyway. I also hated her character a lot.
The last trap that we have on our list is a controversial one, and I'm excited to hear your reaction.
Okay.
But we have the laser collars.
Why do we have laser collars? I mean, I understand, but this is a dead giveaway. A dead giveaway that it was him. Because
he was using a laser pen earlier in the movie.
And that only leads me to believe that his little Eleanor, they were definitely banging.
You think they were into each other?
I think they were into each other.
It's hard to escape the workplace romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you suffer from it. I mean, and your husband. You know, you
He
met.
is not my husband. Oh my god.
You and your paramour, you guys met at a similar place because you say you're not supposed to do that, Geraldine, but you defied the rules.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was a forbidden love.
Forbidden love.
Yeah,
My not Romeo and Juliet because they killed each other or themselves rather. Ignore. I'm bad at references.
Sick reference though, bro.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Dude, your references are out of control. Everyone knows that.
but it seems I can kind of see they're also both like Hollywood actors, so they're both hot. So it's like it's hard to
Yeah.
imagine if like there's two of you who are alone all the time and you're both hot and you're both like there's got to be something.
It's giving me some so American Horror Stories, they came out with like this second like show that they do every year where it's like an anthology series. So none of the episodes are really like intrinsically linked, but some of them are. It's kind of confusing. It's like, no, not all of them are linked, but some of them are. Some of them have a story. Some of them go back to like other like seasons, but rarely they do that. But one of them that came out last year, it dealt with the morgue. I forgot what the name of the episode was, but it just kind of reminded me of that episode. And I don't want to, like, if you guys want to watch it, I don't want to spoil anything. And if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it.
There is kind of a dark romance tension here.
Yeah, I kind of dug it, though.
You like that, yeah. I know that you're into that kind of thing. You freak.
I am not. No, not like that. I mean, like, I don't know.
No, because I know. You know, you like that American Horror Story hotel season. You know, and
Yeah,
the
I do.
beginning scene of Lady Gaga and all this vampire.
Who wouldn't? It's vampires.
Yeah, but
I'm not apologizing for being myself.
they're bloodsuckers, Geraldine.
And?
I personally actually like the laser collar.
Oh, you would.
Why would you say this? Why?
I don't know. You just would.
I do like it, yeah.
Why?
It's cool. I mean, they're freaking lasers. Lasers are cool, simply. And it's cool to see them being used earlier on in this movie. Have you ever used a laser pen?
No, only like the laser pointers for cats.
I like the shot. I just think the laser collars are really cool, and I think the trick is fun here, where we see Detective Halloran and Logan both wake up in the same room. They've been kind of chasing each other throughout this movie, trying to blame on each other.
Cat and mouse game. I was tired of it. We've seen it.
Yeah, a lot of cat and mouse. They wake up in the same room and they both have these collars strapped onto their necks, and they have like these tiny pens across all around the collars, right?
Yeah.
Well, they turn on and blue lasers start firing at the ceiling, and then they each have to like admit what they've done wrong. What is it? Is that what it is? What they've done wrong? There's a common term. Confess. They need to confess.
Yeah.
Over everything that they've done. And Logan starts confessing. It's not enough. The lasers all start pointing down into him and into his neck, and then it starts gushing out blood.
But that's how I was like, that ain't right.
I thought that was kind of lame. I was like, okay. The visual was really cool. And again, like the rest of the movie, the execution is like whatever, which is what made it so much cooler when we see, when the reveal is shown that Halloran does get to like get the lasers turned off. He looks above him and he sees there's burn marks on the ceiling. But when he looks across the room, there were no burn marks on his side of the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then you see Logan start to stand up. And he's like, reveals himself, I've been the one doing all this.
He's like, yeah, it's me.
And then he says, I do like this defiance of Jigsaw done this way, because he kind of makes it into a badass thing where he's like, Halloran is like, but wait, don't I get a choice? Jigsaw always gives their victims a choice.
Yeah.
And then Logan says, you do have a choice. Scream or don't. And then he walks away, and before he shuts the door, he doesn't say game over. He says, I speak for the dead. Which, in my opinion, is a badass line. And
It
makes
is a badass
sense.
line.
I think Kramer said it in Saw 6 over the health insurance stuff. I
Yes.
think he said something similar.
Yes, he did.
About speaking for the dead. And then we get to see the actual consequences of these lasers.
And it was pretty cool.
It was really cool because when the lasers start coming down, they immediately start slicing as soon as it hits his head.
Very Demogorgon, if you will.
Very Demogorgon. His head turns into like a flower that blooms open.
It's kind of beautiful.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's cool. Now, again, it is super CG, but this one is, I think, is my favorite looking out of all the CG.
Yeah, the execution of it was really cool at the end. But I mean, like, just the overall, like, the shock value of the laser collars. At first, I was like, ugh, okay, this is kind of boring. But then again, like most of this movie was kind of boring in my opinion.
Yeah, it didn't quite hit the mark, but I do like we've been discussing it and we have said some things that we did enjoy.
Yeah.
Unlike Saw 5, for example,
That one was a
which
train
is
wreck.
not much to enjoy in that movie at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was the total train wreck.
Yeah. So I'm hit and miss here. We didn't talk much about Edgar Munson. He's featured very briefly at the beginning of the movie.
Just the beginning.
But I did think his name was fascinating, Edgar Munson.
Edgar Munson. It sounds very dark.
It reminds me of Eddie Munson. Is when I keep on wanting to say Eddie Munson instead of Edgar Munson.
Eddie. Beautiful. Anyway, it makes me think of, I don't know, Munsters. And then Edgar, I don't know, I think of like Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay. Fitting.
Very dark.
So let's go ahead and get into our trap rankings.
Yes.
Which one do you want to put up to task? Which one was your favorite from this movie?
I'm going to go with the cycle trap or the laser collars.
Oh, you already know which one I want to pick. It's the laser collars for me.
I shouldn't have put that in there then. I'm just kidding. It's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Because, I mean, the end result was pretty dope whenever
Yeah.
we got to see Halloran's face go. I was
All
like, okay.
So the laser collars gets this movie's nominations. Now, where does it fit along the rest of the trap rankings so far? Number 1, the rack. Number 2, the carousel. Number 3, the horsepower trap. Number 4, the needle pit. Number 5, reverse bear trap. Number 6, the glass coffin. And number 7, the bedroom trap. So where are we going to put the laser collars?
This might be controversial,
Okay.
at least between you and I. I'm kind of nearing the end, so it
Okay.
would be like in between 6 and 7.
I would put it above 6. Because,
Okay.
you know what? It is kind of hard because the glass coffin, I'm thinking about the coffin
really,
part.
That was really like a girl boss moment, if we're being
You're
honest.
right, actually. You know what? I'm going to agree with you. It's number 7, pushing the bedroom trap to number 8.
Even though the bedroom trap was well deserved.
Yeah, they're all vicious, all of these. It's just, you're right, just seeing Hoffman being lowered down.
He's like,
That's a very good visual representation of Hoffman and his lips.
he's like, yeah, bitch, I won.
Literally.
I can't help it with the lips. You just have to do the lips.
I don't know what he
He's
does.
got some like really big lips.
Could you imagine getting a kiss from him?
It's probably
it's all lip.
All lip.
Yeah.
I'd be like, whoa.
Hold on,
Whoa.
guy. That's my nose you're touching. It's just too much area. It's gonna end up your nose, your chin, all of it in one go.
Oh man.
Okay, you're ready to rank the movie Jigsaw.
I think I'm ready. It's not gonna be too hard.
You don't think it's gonna be too hard? Okay. I don't know. Thinking about the movie, 1 through 10, where does this movie lie? Our lowest ranking so far was Saw 5 at a 6. We each
Okay.
gave Saw 5 a 6. This movie to me was a little bit better
A little bit better.
than Saw 5. I did like several things about it, but it's only a little bit better.
Not much.
It wasn't super offensive besides the parts that were.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could tell by how I was talking about a few of these things. So I personally give Jigsaw a 7.
I'm gonna save us some time. I'm right there with you.
That's
right,
so great.
exactly with you.
We've been giving these movies
It's-
similar rankings.
We have been.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It just really was underwhelming.
Yeah.
It was hyped up so much, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm excited to watch this. I wonder what it's gonna be."
Yeah.
Boy.
It was just okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
just okay. It wasn't like a bad movie.
No.
And the acting was great as always. Traps were great. They weren't as good as they could have been.
I could have enjoyed. I feel like they had a lot of good things going for the movie. Like, I mean, I think the backstories of all the victims were way more interesting than the traps they were in. Personally,
It made their death so much more sweet.
I didn't mind Holleran so much. Like, he's kind of forgettable in my opinion.
Most of the detectives are though.
But I did enjoy Logan and Eleanor. I kind of liked what they had going on.
Whatever they did have going on.
Here's a clip of Matt Passmore talking a bit about his role.
It's like we're shooting two separate films. There's like the people in the game, and I was there at the beginning of that as the first bucket head that just gets dragged along by the neck and then thrown into the blades. And then they've been shooting that separately and our story seems to, kind of go separate to that. So I pass those guys on set, and we have great chats in the makeup and hair van.
Matt has been fantastic. Just when I thought that nobody could really know their character as well as Tobin Bell, along comes Matt. Before he gets to set, he's thinking about it. All of our actors just know their lines cold coming in. But Matt not only knows his lines, he knows why his character is saying it. He's thought about, who he might have heard them say it in the past, and he's repeating who it is. He's very well prepared. He's very affable, very easygoing, and he'll turn on a dime. He very much wants to make sure that he gets that character out there. He feels that there's a tremendous legacy that he's trying to bring forward.
And I do think he gives a great performance, personally. I just feel like the context that he was given in the movie isn't quite all there.
It's like he was shooting a different movie.
Yeah.
That's the nicest way I can put it. Like, he did really, really great. It just didn't match the vibe. Like, somewhere along the way, things got lost in translation is what it feels like. And it just wasn't quite there. Like, maybe they'll keep Logan around and we'll get to see him in future Saw movies. That would be kind of cool.
I wouldn't mind. Logan and Eleanor, I'd like them both to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really dug Eleanor's tattoos. Yeah. That was just dope.
Maybe have some more of that romantic tension. We don't get to see a lot of that in Saw movies.
We don't.
No.
I'd be open to it, though.
Yeah, me too. Make it more of a soap opera, because I think it is already a soap opera.
It is kind of soapy.
All right, so giving us 2 7s, it puts this movie in second to last place at number 7. We have number 1, Saw 3, number 2, Saw 6, number 3, Saw 2, number 4, Saw, number 5, Saw 4, number 6, Saw 7, and number 7, Jigsaw. Last place at number 8, Saw 5.
And deserves it still. I'm still a hater.
Yeah. Well, we only have one movie left until we're caught up to watch Saw X.
Socks, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for listening. Catch us on our next episode. You can follow us on all our social medias at Fright Flight Pod. We're there. We've done a skit recently. Go watch it.
We have done a skit, and it's
Saw
fun.
related. Yeah, it's very fun. Go watch it.
Go watch it. Go like it. Go type in ha 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 on the comments.
Please.
Please validate us.
Yes. Well, thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Fright or Flight, a Live Oaks Village production. This episode was hosted by Geraldine Johnson and Saul Alberto Arzmendi Ochoa. Produced by me, Bailey B. Edited by Geraldine Johnson and music composition by Saul Alberto Arzmendi Ochoa.